Welcome to the Empowered Homes podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to be a resource to connect church and home by growing strong families.
Hey, I'm Bobby.
And I'm Maggie.
This is the Empowered Homes podcast. Today's episode is super special. Maggie, what are we doing?
Today we are talking about Easter. So I gathered some of my favorite moms together, and we're talking about some normal Easter traditions, how they're going to look different, and just some ways that we're processing through a different Easter this year.
Yeah, it's a different Easter, and these moms are incredible. And as the kids say, what they have to share is absolute fire. It is awesome, right? Is that what the kids say?
It is. I wish we could do like the fire emoji right now.
Fire emoji. No, it's so good. Just their wisdom and discernment of, slowing down in this season. And just because everything else is canceled, you can't cancel Easter. It's just so good. So I'm excited. If you want more information about Easter resources or this podcast or anything, where could they find that, Maggie?
Empoweredhomes.org.
Okay, so today on the podcast, we got a special episode. We've got some mothers in the house, moms from all different life stages with kids at different ages, and we're talking Easter. What's up, Maggie?
Hey, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Virtually, because that's how we do things now.
I know. We're excited. This is for all of us in the virtual room. This is a brand new, never done before Easter. And so we just wanted to talk about it.
That's right. Yeah. So we are all looking at Easter looking different right now. And so we just thought we would gather some people together and talk through, what does Easter normally look like? What are some things that we're having to give up in this season temporarily? And what are we excited for? Like, how is it going to look this year? And why are we excited for that? All right. So we're just going to have you guys go around, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your family, and then we'll jump into a conversation about Easter.
Okay, I'll go because I'm the oldest. So I'm Leslie, and my kids are 20 and 23. My 23-year-old has been married almost 2 years, and they live in Louisiana. And so, Texas won't let them in. So they will not be coming home for Easter. So that's me.
Okay, I'm Laura, and I have 3 girls, and they are 12, 10, and 7. So we have junior high and elementary, just out of preschool. So that's us. They're all with me all day.
How fun.
They're always let in.
Always let in. All right, Kelly, let's hear from you.
So I'm Kelly, and I have twin 9-year-olds, a boy and a girl, and then our youngest daughter is 5. So she's in pre-K, and then the twins are in 3rd grade.
And I'm Jessie, and I have 2 boys who are 11 and 8, and a little girl who is 4, almost at 3. She's 4.
She probably would have corrected you on that one.
Oh, yes.
All right, so let's talk about what would Easter normally look like for you guys. What are some traditions that your family holds to each year?
We normally, go ahead. Go ahead, Leslie.
We usually have a big dinner. My dad comes over, my brother and his wife, Meredith and Tanner come home, and we do a confetti egg war. I already have my confetti eggs. So we have like 8 dozen confetti eggs, and we beat each other up with them. And that is by far our favorite thing to do.
That's awesome.
And good dinner and just hang out and spend Easter together in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about you guys, Jessie?
We, my in-laws live close, so we normally go there for an Easter egg hunt with JP's sister and her family. And then we normally do an Easter egg hunt with our community group as well. And then Easter Sunday's normally slower since we're in the church world, but we normally do a lunch as a family and an Easter egg hunt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So, what will you guys be doing for Easter this year?
I'm hogging
Driving.
it, y'all.
Yeah. No one jump on that. What are you doing? Yeah.
Well, I know for us, we normally, one of our favorite things is the Journey to the Cross that our church, that Kingsland provides. And it's just, we've made some really good memories. And so we are really excited that there's an at-home version of that. And you can find that on Empowered Homes. But we've looked through it. It's so simple. We actually have all of the items on the list. So I'm like, yay!
Awesome.
But our tradition is usually we go to my in-laws. They have like 65 acres in the country, so all the cousins do this massive egg hunt. Not on all 65 acres, but on
That would be so intense.
Wow.
But we do that, and we grill and have a big family kickball game and ride four-wheelers. And so we're gonna miss that this year, but we have plans to FaceTime, and we are gonna have a big meal that I'm not cooking. Someone else will be grilling it or whatever, preparing it. And so I am looking forward to that, because I feel like it's a way to help, some local restaurants. We haven't quite decided on where. We have a family vote on, what we're going to eat. But we'll have a big meal on Sunday. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fun. And I love that you're doing something local too.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And
Laura, I was gonna say, Laura, how about you?
I was going to say, we've been doing the Holy Week devotions this week too, which have been really good. And it's just been really taking hold of it and making it not rushed. Like, in the past, sometimes during Holy Week, it's been like, okay, we have soccer practice, let's go run and do that, and we'll fit this devotion in really quick. And now it's actually been able to sit down and have good conversations and, really talk about it during dinner time. That's when we've been sitting down to really talk about it and everything. So it's led to good conversations that we've had this year. So that's been really good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So Leslie, what are some of the traditions that you guys are having to adjust this year?
Well, my dad can't come over because he is in his 80s and he's quarantined. So he is all alone in his little apartment in his senior adult place. So, but he has a patio. So we will take him an Easter basket, and I'll make it today and put it in a garbage bag so that it will be germ-free by Sunday, and I can drop it on his porch. And I can wave to him through the sliding glass door. So we're planning to do that. I've been told from Louisiana that we are to save the confetti eggs. So we are planning to just wait until this is all over. And then we'll have a post-Easter dinner confetti egg war.
Yeah.
I got my ham from the grocery store the other day. So we'll have ham and something that I can find, whatever else I can find in the freezer. And it's been interesting meals around here. And so what is going to be nice, and this is going to maybe sound bad, but since I work at church, Easter is really busy for me. So Friday night is Journey to the Cross, and then there's Saturday worship services and Sunday worship services. And so I'm usually pretty wiped by the time I get to Sunday afternoon. So it's going to be kind of relaxed for me. So I'm looking forward to just getting to spend that time with my family, with the two that are in my house, just those two. But I like those two. So
That's good.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys are being super intentional with this time. I think I keep going back to the phrase, what are they going to remember? Like, what are my kids going to remember from all of this? And especially going through Holy Week, because I guess all of our prayers is they'll never have to experience anything like this again. And so what will they remember, and how do we keep this super intentional? Kelly, you mentioned Journey to the Cross. We're actually talking to neighbors to see if we can have stations at different houses where we all start at the same time and kind of go around the neighborhood, ride bikes / get energy out because our kids are crazy.
That's fun. I like that idea.
That's a really cool idea, Bobby.
So we're working it out. Some yeah, there's some logistics there, but I think it'd be super fun. But yeah, just
Right.
being intentional is awesome.
Jesse, what are some things that you guys are adjusting this year?
We, JP's parents dropped off Easter baskets similar to what Leslie's doing with her dad, but the kids all ran to the window by the door and waved at them and talked to them for a minute. And then we let them sit for a little while. And then when the kids opened them, JP FaceTimed with his parents. So they
That's sweet.
them opening everything and stuff like that. So still a part of Easter together. We'll probably FaceTime on Easter as well with both sets of grandparents when we Easter egg hunt and stuff like that as well.
That's awesome. So we normally, I work at church too. And so, yeah, Easter is a pretty busy weekend overall. But we are doing drive-in church. So I get to go hang out at that, which I'm excited about, and really excited to see how that all works. And I think that that's been one of the, I don't want to say that this is a fun time, like, because it's tough and there are people suffering. Absolutely. But I've loved seeing the creativity of how we're still figuring out ways to feel community, to feel together while still being safe and making wise decisions. And so it sounds like that sort of encompasses, all of the things that you guys just mentioned of being purposeful with time together with the people you're able to be with. So like your immediate family, and then FaceTiming people and, being purposeful and dropping off stuff and thinking through logistics with that. How have you guys had to grieve some of the traditions, or just sort of like, maybe grieve is a little bit too strong of a word, but process some of the things that we're losing in this season while still like looking ahead to good things that are coming?
Yeah. Before y'all start, I'll mention, I'm the only guy in here. So speaking from what I see in my wife, getting the outfits and just, she takes so much just time and energy to make Easter special with the baskets and stuff. I've really had to help her kind of grieve through this and let her know that it's okay. That's been hard for me to see, just in the middle of this, but just so stinking proud of her resolve and, adjustments and trying to make the best of this situation. So that's from the outside looking in, I'd be super curious to hear what you have to say so I can help my wife through this is what I'm getting at.
I struggle a lot with the outfits because I spend way too much time searching for the perfect everything for every child.
Yes.
I don't really care about myself and my clothes, but for theirs. But I think it's been a little freeing because I can be so consumed with it. It's taken it away from me. And I feel like another way that I've kind of grieved, I love just, parties and planning and stuff like that. And I've tried to be intentional. I sat down with our kids yesterday. I did plan what we're going to have on Easter, but I asked them, like, what are some ways you would like to help me in the kitchen if each one of y'all can, because normally it's a crazy week. So I love having the Easter lunch, but the time to do it, I don't want kids in the kitchen with me normally.
Right.
Now with more time, I'm like, what can you do in the kitchen? So it's kind of like stepping back and making myself realize things aren't as important as I let them be. Their Easter baskets are way more simple this year because we go overboard in a lot of those things. And I would tell you all the time that we tell our kids that the reason for Easter is our Savior is risen and alive, but I can put a lot of time into those things that aren't important. So I think it's making it more evident to our kids this year.
That's good.
That's so good, Jesse.
Well, I was grieving that Meredith and Tanner are not coming home. And so that was bothering me, but I thought it'll be okay because I'll just mail them their Easter basket. And then I thought about that and I thought, I can't do that. I can't go out and, in good conscience go out and get all that stuff and then go to the post office, and it just seems trivial in the light of everything that's going on. So Maggie hooked me up with this mail thing where I mailed them each this
Readable. Yeah, that's been really cool.
And they called when they were opening them, so they got those in the mail. So that was just a little, just needed them to know that I'm still thinking about them, even though they don't get an Easter basket. Because even when your kids are married and old, you still give them Easter baskets.
Yeah.
At least if you're me, you do. And I know you people, I know you would do.
Laura, how about you?
I was just going to say, I think the biggest component that I guess that we're missing is just the family, being able to have the cousins and the grandparents and, you know, just everybody come together, and it's just a time to reconnect and just enjoy and celebrate together. And you can still do it over Zoom, but it's just not the same as, you know, being near. Like yesterday, Georgia, my oldest, went and surprised a friend for her birthday, and they sat, you know, a good 12 feet apart and talked for like an hour while I was in the car waiting. But, you know, but I was just like, well, you can call her on the phone and it's just not the same. And
yeah.
So I think that's been the biggest thing. Like, you know, we're still doing a lot of the traditions that we do and everything, but just with these 4 people that are in the house all the time, 5 people. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's our case too. We're gonna miss being with cousins, and I think so. Our oldest are 9. I think like in the last 10 years, we've never been at our home for Easter, so that's kind of new. And I think, I don't know if it's something I'm grieving, but early on, I was starting to feel the pressure of like, I have to make this meaningful. It is all on me. And just, and then I realized like, it's not. Easter's gonna come, and Easter is Easter because of what God has done. It's not anything I have to make happen, or I don't even have to make it meaningful. It already is meaningful. And we're just celebrating that. And so I think I have just seen my children interact in a new way, because that we are all together under one roof. Like I'm watching the 9-year-olds talk to the 5-year-olds, because, you know, they both have accepted Christ, the older ones have. And, you know, the younger one who's 5, she's getting to that place. And so it's just kind of neat to see that happening, and it's only because we're all here together and we're sitting down to do a family devotion, all 5 of us, every single day. And so it's different, but it's also, there's been a lot of hidden gifts that I'm starting to notice.
Kelly, I loved what you said about we don't have to make this meaningful. Like it's already meaningful. We get to celebrate, and just the freedom that's in that sentence. Like this should be a fun, celebratory, exciting Sunday because of what Jesus did. Like we get to party because of what Jesus did. And so that's like where the joy comes from. I love that. All right, let's wrap up this episode by closing with our last question. I want each of you to answer, what's one thing you would encourage a family to do today to prepare their hearts for Easter? So that might be something specifically for a mom to prepare her heart for Easter, or something that they can do as a family together.
It's going.
Leslie, go ahead.
All right, I'm on it. So I think the most important thing any Easter to do is to just prepare your heart. And it's so easy. Easter just kind of happens randomly every year. It sneaks up on us. And this year it's not. We have all this time. And so to spend time doing a devotional every day, reading the Gospels leading up to, from Palm Sunday to the crucifixion and resurrection, is huge. So we, at my house, since, you know, I'm in children's ministry, my family always has to do what the children are doing. My 20-year-old yesterday, as I handed him the Play-Doh and said, here, you have to make a heart while we read this. And my husband and him both sat down, made their Play-Doh hearts. And he goes, Mom, this is for the children. And I go, you are my children. And he goes, but I'm an adult. And I go, yes, I get that. but make a Play-Doh heart because you will forever be my child. And so do it. And so it was just good time to sit down and focus on the events leading up to Easter and to get our hearts ready.
I'll echo that. I was thinking of how do we prepare our hearts, and the psalm I've probably read every day since the beginning of this mess, just to try to calm my anxiety, help my wife her anxiety. Psalm 16. I won't read the whole thing, but it says, verse 2, I said to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have nothing good beside you. And so with everything stripped away, what do we have? We have a good Father that loves us. And so for me, in preparing my heart for Easter, that just thinking and meditating and spending my time and my heart on exactly what he did for me. And so I can't teach my kids that if my heart's not resting in knowing that if everything's stripped away, I still have my God. And so as a parent, that's been my mantra of trying to get that heart ready for Easter, even in the middle of an anxious time. So that's good, Leslie.
I think I'd also just say, during this time, and I know we've talked about this other times, but just to remember, focus on what you are doing and what you can do rather than what you're missing. So, you set the tone for your house. So if you're just like, oh, we can't do this. Oh, we can't do that this year. Just put it in a more positive tone. Look, let's go do this. We can do this. So I just think just to remember as you're celebrating to focus on the positives and the things that you can do rather than all the things that you're missing this year.
That's good.
Really, really wise.
Really good. Yeah, and I think, from the very beginning when everything one by one, things started getting canceled, I remember sitting one morning and just being like, everything's canceled. And just remembering that, but God's word is never canceled. And Easter cannot be canceled. We may be celebrating it in a different way and adjusting, but nothing can cancel Easter because it's already happened. And we just get to acknowledge that every year. And so I think for me, I've been just reminding myself to focus on that and not to miss the miracle and not get so wrapped up in what I'm doing, but just in being present and reflecting on this. It's amazing that in our time where everything's getting canceled, Easter can't be canceled.
Wow, that's good. That'll preach.
I think I would say during this time, I shared earlier, I can struggle with control over things. So just letting go of expectations and being intentional with our time, because I could still be all busy this week preparing for Easter. So just reminding myself to have fun with my kids as we're doing stuff, and to let go of what I see as an ideal Easter lunch or Easter egg hunt or all the little things I can do, but to be present with my kids and enjoy it.
That's so good. That's really
so good.
Well, you guys are some of my favorite moms. So thanks for coming together and talking about how Easter is going to look this year, and being real and being honest, and for just giving us a lot of wisdom to chew on over the next few days. I really appreciate all of you, and I hope you all have a happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Appreciate you guys. If anybody's listening and they want more information about Easter resources that we mentioned, you can find all of that on empoweredhomes.org. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Empowered Homes podcast. For more content and information to connect church and home, please visit empoweredhomes.org.